a wonderful, wonderful honor to be here with this esteemed panel today. I wish that the panel were taking place over the weekend before people had to leave. I wish it were taking place at a time in which everyone and their children could hear this, because the crucialness of the topic of climate change and our own individual role in either exacerbating it or mitigating it is perhaps one of the most important topics facing our planet today. There's a beautiful story that I love of a boat in the middle of the ocean in which 3 men are stranded. And they start to fight. There's sort of a tense situation. And in order to keep themselves calm, what they do is they draw these invisible and imaginary lines down the boat so that each of the men has his own 1/3 of the boat, much like young children do in their bedrooms. This is my half, this is your half. But of course, no one went out onto the boat with duct tape, so the lines that they drew were just imaginary, but each of the men stayed in his 1/3 of the boat. And one day, 2 of the men look over, and they notice that a leak has sprung in the 3rd part of the boat, and water is flooding into the boat. And they panic, and they shout at the 3rd man, "Stop up the leak. The boat's going to sink, and we're all going to drown." And the 3rd man says, "Oh, don't worry. It's only leaking in my part of the boat." And I love that story because even though on so many levels we all understand that imaginary and invisible lines, or no imaginary and invisible lines, a leak in any part of the boat brings the whole thing down. And that's the situation that we are in on our planet today. Our collective boat of our healthy, sustainable, physical presence on Mother Earth is sinking. And it is up to us to plug up that leak. When we talk about climate change, so many of us relegate it to the responsibility, the fault, the duty of our governments, of multinationals, of the massive transportation industry. We sign online petitions, we march, we picket. And it's wonderful. Showing solidarity is fantastic. But there's a lot more that we can do. And there's a lot more that we need to do. Recently, we had a group from Brazil staying at our ashram in Rishikesh, and they were speaking about how the city of São Paulo was almost evacuated due to lack of water. An entire city evacuated due to lack of water. Today, this year, the Amazon rainforest, which produces 20% of the oxygen on Earth, which absorbs 20% of the carbon dioxide, which provides us with 20% of the fresh drinking water on our planet, is being clear-cut at a rate of a football field a second. Take a moment and just breathe. Three, 4, 5, 6 football fields of Amazon rainforest have been deforested since we began simply breathing. And for what? Primarily for the livestock industry, so that we who have the power, the luxury, the freedom to choose, can choose to eat hamburgers, can choose to eat steak, can choose to have teak and mahogany tables and doors. The Amazon rainforest is the holder of the oxygen and the water for this planet. And today, 90% of the 1.2 billion people on this planet who live in extreme poverty, 90% of them depend upon the rainforests for their lives and their livelihoods. We are here at the Parliament talking about reclaiming our humanity. Which humanity? Our humanity in a vacuum? Our humanity that has the freedom and the ability and the luxury to buy bottle of water after bottle of water? Our humanity is not in a vacuum. As we reclaim our humanity, we have to understand that our humanity is their humanity. And if 90% of those 1.2 billion people depend upon that forest, that is our humanity. Climate change is taking place, as we know, due to several main gases. And I'm just going to go through this very, very quickly. But the statistics are really important. The livestock industry is responsible for more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere than the transportation industry. Now, how many of us feel a pinch of guilt for the airplanes we take to get here, for the travel we do? If we have the disposable resources, we'll make a donation to offset the carbon footprint. And yet, that impact is negligible compared to what we're eating. Every single hamburger releases 75 kilograms of carbon dioxide into the air. That is the equivalent as if you took your car and you drove morning to night, nonstop, for 3 straight weeks. The livestock industry is responsible for 40% of the methane in our atmosphere just due to the cattle while they are alive. That which they emit from their various orifices puts 40% of the methane into our atmosphere. And when you include the clear cutting of the forests, the burning of their waste, 100 million tons of methane. 100 million tons of methane. So fly in the airplane, but make sure you order the vegetarian meal. I want to just very, very quickly also touch upon water for a moment, because water is an inextricable part of climate change. Not only is what's happening with our water an effect of climate change and a repercussion of climate change, but the way that we are wasting our water is also directly linked in exacerbating climate change. Because the less water there is, the hotter our ground is. The hotter our ground is, the hotter our air is. The hotter our air is, the more water is pulled out of the earth. In India, hundreds of thousands of farmers are committing suicide due to desiccated fields. And the amount of water that we are utilizing simply to eat hamburgers and hot dogs and chicken McNuggets is an amount of water that would irrigate not only the fields in India, but the fields throughout the world. 90% of the fresh water on this planet is used in commercial agriculture, mostly livestock. For every pound of beef we eat, 2,500 gallons, it's about 10,000 liters of water, goes into the production of that 1 pound of beef. Now let me just bring that home a little bit more. If you shower every day, and you shower the way that people in the West shower, not like in India from a bucket, but actually from a shower head, from which water continually pours, and you shower for approximately 8 minutes a day, in 6 months, you will use 2,500 gallons of water. And what that means is that every time we eat beef, we have to ask ourselves, am I prepared to go without bathing for 6 months to offset the water that has gone into this meal? Chicken is about 1/3. So for chicken, we'd have to go about 2 months without bathing. So we learn to turn off the taps while we brush our teeth, and we put low flush things into our toilets, and we pat ourselves on the back for a $25 donation to Greenpeace. And then we go out and we celebrate at a steakhouse. And I share this with you not to make you feel guilty, not to be the moral police, but simply so that every one of us understands the power we have, even if we don't go fully vegetarian. Every single time that sitting in a restaurant, we choose a vegetarian option over meat, we are freeing up crucial water resources for the planet. We are putting water in parched throats. We are irrigating desiccated fields. We are helping our brothers and sisters survive. The very last point I want to make is it's not only what we eat, it's also what we buy, and it's what we wear and how we live. Because everything that we use in the world, almost, is produced in a factory. And almost every factory is spewing noxious gases into the air and has chemical waste that is polluting our soil, polluting our groundwater, going into our rivers, turning what should be drinkable fresh water into poison that is killing our brothers and sisters across the world. And it doesn't mean don't buy. But what it means is don't be so brainwashed and indoctrinated by the culture that says shopping therapy, that says, as Pujya Swamiji always jokes about, shop till you drop. Well, whether we drop or not, our planet is dropping. People around the planet are dropping. Everything we do has the power to mitigate what is happening. And that is the great message of all of our wonderful leaders we have before you. I won't take any more time. As you may have noticed, it's one of my favorite topics. But I will stop here, and I will ask our Rabbi Yonatan Neril, who is the executive director and co-founder of the Interfaith Center for Sustainable Development based in Jerusalem, Israel, to share with us his thoughts and the work they're doing and how we all can do the work.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. I want to follow on the very important and holy words of Sadhvi Bhagawati and mention a few other aspects of how faith can relate to sustainable living. Because at some level, what this section of the Parliament on climate change and faith is about is how does faith inspire people to live differently? How can faith promote behavioral changes so that people actually become more sustainable? And so I want to mention a few of them which I think cut across all religions. One is gold. So one of the most significant environmental choices that a person makes in their lifetime is how much gold they buy and where that gold comes from. Because briefly, there's not many gold nuggets left in the world, and so the prevalent way of mining gold today is cyanide leach mining, which pollutes. What they do is they take a huge pile of earth and they pour a cyanide solution over it in order to get the gold filings that they will then make into a ring. And so in many people get married in a religious ceremony. And in my tradition, in that religious ceremony, the husband gives a ring to his wife and says, and the ceremony is called holiness. That is the name of the ceremony. And this is true in many faiths, that the ceremony is about holiness. And so I think it's important for religious leaders and clergy and people of faith to consider how in a ceremony that is about holiness and about the holy coming together of the holy partners, that it can involve cyanide leach mining that damages people and causes cancer and the like. That's one aspect. A second thing I want to pick up on is that the methane from cows isn't just about beef, but it's also about dairy. And so as we consider our dietary choices, we also need to think about how much dairy are we eating as well. A third area that I want to mention is the aspect of airplane travel. One of the most effective ways of depositing carbon in the atmosphere is by using airplanes, because about half of the carbon that comes from cars is absorbed by trees and the ocean, etc., but most of the carbon that is emitted by an airplane actually stays in the atmosphere. So as we know, we need to reconsider every time we take a flight, because it's so easy in our times just to buy a $99 flight to whatever vacation destination. And a fourth aspect of personal lifestyle choices, which is something which I feel is a little bit off of the radar screen, but which I want to put on the topic of this holy convocation, is questioning personal automobiles. We heard in the last session from our indigenous brothers and sisters about thinking about how our lifestyle choices impact 7 generations, and whether 7 generations from now our descendants will be able to live in a similar way as us. Well, as I see it, the way we are living now with personal automobiles, especially in the Western world, but not only there, of individuals striving to each have a car and driving it to the grocery store and to work and to many places, that if we think that that's possible for 7.3 billion people in the world today, or for 8 or 9 or 10 billion people powered by fossil fuels, well, according to the world scientists, that is incompatible with the natural limits of the earth that the Creator has placed here. And so I just want to conclude by saying that it's one thing to tell your congresspeople to vote for a certain bill or to sign a petition, but I think a more local way of affecting change is we also need to demand from our religious clergy that they speak about these issues. There's a poll that the Pew Center did of how often in the United States clergy speak about environmental issues. And it shows that it actually happens very rarely, and even less often about climate change, and that there's a correlation between how often a clergy member speaks on ecology and what people think about issues of climate change and other ecological issues. So in order to filter down the behavioral changes that each of us can make and that billions of people can make, I think it's imperative in our time that clergy speak about this often, and that the people sitting in the pews and in the mosques and temples and synagogues and churches that they say to their religious figure in their lives, I want to hear about this. This is the issue of our time because I want my children to inherit a livable planet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Yonatan, and especially for mentioning the importance of what our faith leaders are teaching us, because we were just, before coming here, together with the Sikh community, who, as you know, have been feeding everybody this entire week. And yes, good, let's have a round of applause. Selflessly, generously, with such a beautiful open heart. And all of our religions tell us, feed the hungry. And yet, what very few of them tell us is how our own eating choices are actually taking the food out of the mouths of the hungry. Every time that we eat meat, we are eating the food for 16 people. It takes 16 pounds of grain to bring us a pound of beef. And what that means is every time I'm choosing beef, I'm literally saying I am entitled to the food of 15 other people. I have been born and blessed with some special entitlement that says, let them starve so I can have a hamburger. And when our religious clergy, when our faith leaders exhort us to feed the hungry, it's crucial that now they bring in the aspect of not just through donating cans to soup kitchens, not just through writing checks to Oxfam, but also for making a choice in every meal we eat for those people. It is an incredible honor and an incredible joy to have Reverend Michael Beckwith with us. He is the founder, the head, the divine light and Shakti of the Agape Church in Los Angeles. But it's not just a physical location. It is that as well, to which so many thousands and thousands of people every week come and get solace and inspiration and awakening. But through their work, through the media, through the live streams, through Reverend Michael's travels, the sheer number of people around the world who are waking up to the divinity within themselves and the divinity in others is so inspiring. And before he comes, I just want to mention that he was actually supposed to have flown out this morning because his tickets, as many people's were booked before the actual schedule came out. And when the schedule came out and he was supposed to be in this session, they actually had to go and change all of his tickets and do everything, but his commitment and love and dedication to being here was so strong that he instructed his assistant to change everything. So.
Thank you, Sadhvi. Thank you, Rabbi. I really appreciated the new information I received on the gold. I didn't know that. It's going to add to my body of knowledge. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate that everything that Sadhvi has given us today. She laid out a very powerful overview and narrative about the revolution that we can have with our fork and our shopping decisions. I'll begin with just some my personal unfoldment in this way of living. When I was a young boy, 8 or 9 years old, my godmother used to have luau's, and we would go over to her home, and one day there was a pig on a spit with an apple in its mouth, and we didn't think anything of it. I came from a meat-eating family, and then at some point they began to cut the pig open, and they began to slice the ham, and I realized they were eating the butt of the pig. So I went and grabbed my little brother, and I said, they've been fooling us all along. This isn't ham, this is pig's butt they've been giving us. And we began to look at how our parents were pulling the wool over our eyes, so to speak, and calling something ham rather than pig's butt. And later on that same afternoon, there was another tradition, a terrible tradition in our ethnicity called the eating of chitlins. And my godmother was cooking chitlins in the kitchen, and they stunk. And this was during the time where, and I think it's coming back now, where babies had diapers and not throwaway Pampers and that type of thing. And I thought my godmother was in there boiling my godbrother's diapers because of the stench. And then she reached in and tasted it. So as a 9-year-old boy, I'm thinking she's reaching in and tasting my godbrother's diapers. And I just thought adults had lost their mind. They were feeding us pig's butt and baby diapers as some kind of ceremony. But it did plant a seed in my mind about I never ate pork again, so I joined the Jewish and Islam tradition where that is concerned. And then it was a number of years after that, in the middle 70s, that I had a spiritual awakening and began to open up to the awareness that we were surrounded by a presence, a love, a beauty, and intelligence, by whatever name we choose to call it, and I could see it emanating through all objects, animate and inanimate. And I began to go on a research to discover what had happened to me. And at some point in that, I was eating some chicken. And as I was eating this chicken, I was sensitive enough to feel the agony of the chicken. And I thought it was imaginary to me, but as I continued to eat, I could actually feel the trauma in the animals. And so I became a vegetarian. And I remember my mother was so scared. She thought I was going to die, and because I was not a big eater of vegetables at the time. And so that was my first foray. My first foray into that was basically the sensitivity of the agony of the animals, the cows, the slaughtering of the animals, the beef, the chickens, all of that. So that was my first entry level into that. And then it was a little bit later that I began to discover the health benefits of not eating a full-on protein, knowing that your body cannot digest that for a number of days. It has to break it down, and it's a dead protein in the first place, and has to break it down into amino acids, build it back up. You end up having to overwork your pancreas to produce digestive enzymes in order to digest all of that dead food, to turn it into living. I mean, the body is miraculous of what it could do with garbage and still be alive. And so my next movement of expanded awareness was the awareness of the health aspect of beginning to not eat as much meat, dairy, and dead animals. I always tell people, why are you eating cadavers and why are you eating dead body parts? I say that to my congregation, by the way, as well, so it's not just something I'm saying here at the Parliament. I'll say some of you are going to go eat cadavers and some of you are going to go eat living foods. At Agape, we do have a living foods ministry. We have an environmental ministry in order to raise the consciousness around that. So my second movement was around the health dynamic of eating properly. And then the third dynamic is when I became aware of what Sadhvi has brought to us today, of the tremendous impact that our fork has on the planet, the releasing of the methane, and the fact that we're living in a time in which there's an increasing tsunamis, increasing hurricanes and tornadoes. And what most people don't realize is that the earth sweats the same way that we sweat. That when our inner environment becomes very hot, we sweat in order to cool off the body temple like an organic radiator. And the earth does the same thing. When the equator gets too hot, it creates tornadoes and hurricanes in order to release the heat and the heat that has been encapsulated in the planet through the releasing of the methane that Sadhvi brought to us. So in terms of understanding that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and that we are here to be stewards of the planet, the rainforest, the soil, etc., we have to be aware that when the hurricanes and the tsunamis and the tornadoes are increasing at an exponential level, that is not some God smiting us for some evil. That is us heating up the atmosphere and the earth having to sweat in order to relieve itself of the heat that has been caught by the planet Earth. And so it is also something for us to know that in terms of our pocketbook, it is cheaper when we go to the grocery store to buy vegetables and nuts and grains and things of that particular nature and fruits and vegetables than it is to buy a pound of meat. So just in terms of the economy of us as individuals, it is not only health-wise, but also from an economic an awareness to buy that which is better for us. And it also is more sustainable for the earth to eat right and to begin to eat the vegetables and the herbs and the fruits and the things of that particular nature. And so it does walk hand in hand with our spirituality. When we're eating high vibrational foods, it becomes much easier for us to pray, to meditate, to connect with the divine presence, rather than the low density food that's oftentimes full of pesticides and full of the deadly poisons that are spread upon the earth when we're not eating organic, when we're not eating foods that carry the life force of the earth. All of these things we must take into consideration. I see our great spiritual leader over there, Wendy Craig Purcell, who is a minister of the Unity movement, and many people don't know that the Fillmores were vegetarian, and when Unity was first launched, you actually had to be a vegetarian to be a part of Unity. And then he thought better of that later on in the years because he didn't want to keep people from this vast knowledge of unity and the vast knowledge of our oneness with God and the universal spiritual principles by keeping them from eating meat. But it is interesting to know that one of the great pioneers was also a vegetarian, as many of the luminaries that have walked the planet and who are keenly aware that as we are an evolving species, there will come a time in our human history where we will look back and look at how we have treated animals, our four-leggeds, our wingeds, and treated these beings thinking that they were here solely to feed us rather than to walk the planet with us. And so we're appreciating the animals. And so, I don't advocate people to become vegetarians, but I do invite people to cut back. I appreciate what the Obama administration did when he changed the whole food pyramid and began to put the meat as a side dish rather than as a main dish. For many years, meat was the main dish, and if you see the evolution of our society, you are aware that meat was not eaten every day by our ancestors. It was something only the rich could do, and so it became, through the lobbying of the meat and dairy industry, it became like a main dish to eat meat. And through the Obama administration now, the new platform of food is that kids are to be trained and inspired that when they come home from school and they ask, what's for dinner? The parents are to tell them the vegetables, the grains, the fruits, and then the side dish is a small piece of meat, because meat is inextricably bound with cancer and diabetes, arthritis, and many what people would call old age diseases, but we know now they're not old age diseases, they're nutritional diseases, lack of nutritional diseases, and the overburdening of the body temple. So whether we enter into this through some kind of self-interest to be healthy and to save money in our pocketbook, or whether we enter into this into an awareness that the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof, and we want to be stewards of the rainforest and stewards of our soil and stewards of our planet, or whether we enter into it through an awareness of an ever-increasing vibration of health, or whether we enter into this, into the dynamic awareness of having an expanded awareness of our spirituality through not eating low-density, high pesticide food. However we enter into it, if we take baby steps, if everyone takes a baby step, if everyone does a small act every single day, millions and millions of people doing small acts of cutting back, it amplifies, it multiplies. And if millions of people have a revolution with their fork, it makes a mighty difference on the ozone layer, a mighty difference with the soil, a mighty difference with our increasing consumerism and consumption that totally tears down the fabric of our oxygenation and all the things that we need in order to live a sustainable life. Sometimes I don't like to use the word sustainable because I believe that if if you were to say to someone, how was your relationship? And if you were to say, it's sustainable, that doesn't sound too juicy. And so we're not here just to have a sustainable relationship with the planet. We're to have a blissful relationship with the planet. We're to leave a vibrational, a footprint, a vibrational footprint of beauty and love and joy and peace and harmony. Sustainability is the beginning, and then we enter into bliss. And as spiritual beings having a human incarnation full of innovation and resourcefulness and creativity and technology, we can make a great leap in one lifetime as to how we treat the earth, how we treat our body temples, and how we take care of ourselves, how we take care of each other, how we take care of the animals, and absolutely leave a footprint of bliss and beauty and ecstasy, not just sustainability, that's the beginning, but of bliss and ecstasy and beauty. That's what I call on for all of us to contemplate, inquiry, go on an inquiry, go on a research project for yourself, and you'll discover as you cut back little by little by little, in consumerism, little by little, and what you put in your mouth, we will all make a mighty difference. Peace and blessings to all of you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Michael. The Fork Revolution. It's a revolution whose time has come. The industries, you spoke about the lobbies, the industries are trying to convince us that we have a global food shortage, that we have a global water shortage, that we have a global land shortage. But really what we have is a global consciousness shortage. And our leaders coming together are bringing back this consciousness, awakening this consciousness, so that there is no shortage within us or in the planet, but there's only abundance. It's a wonderful, wonderful honor and blessing to ask His Holiness Pujya Swami Chidanand Saraswati Ji, the president of Parmarth Niketan Ashram in Rishikesh, India. The word Parmarth literally means dedicated to the welfare of all. And he is the founder and the head of many different foundations and organizations dedicated to youth education, women's empowerment and upliftment, environmental protection, water, sanitation, hygiene, disaster relief, and anything that the planet needs. Pujya Swamiji.
Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Gunatu Sahaviryam Karavavai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Most revered spiritual leaders, my sisters and brothers. The three of the divine speakers have spoken before me, and every one of them given a beautiful, beautiful way to think, way to live, and way to transform our life. And last, our Reverend Dr. Michael said, let us start with the baby steps. And today, the topic is climate change and you. Climate change, everybody knows, everybody is talking. They also have given their vision and wisdom to us. Now, what we can do? Because it is climate change and you. I think time has come. The revered spiritual masters who are on the dais, and off the dais, all of you, sisters and brothers, we have to recognize our power. God has given us this power to all of us. God has given us veto power. Whenever you want to use the veto, you can. You say yes, happens yes. And you say no, and happens no. It's in your hands. That's why I think first of all, we want to bring this climate change outside of us. We have to change the climate inside of us. Inner climate change, very important. All starts from here. And then all gives a great beginning from here. Let us put together 3H program, hands, head, and our hearts. Not to save the planet. Planet doesn't need us. It's amazing everywhere. Save the planet, save the planet. We are the one who will save the planet. Believe me, many have come and many have gone. Planet is still there. We have to understand, planet is there. And that's why we have to think, we have to make plan not for the planet, for ourselves, for our coming generations, for our children who are very dear and near to us. You can leave billions or millions in your bank accounts. But if they are smart, they don't need your billions. And if they are foolish, still, your billions will make them miserable. But don't worry about them. Just worry about one thing, that how, before you leave, you can make them blissful, not only bountiful. Blissful. That is very important. That's what is needed today. And for that, we have to bring the change right here. In my daily life, in my daily thinking, how I think, what I buy. We have to be, as Sadhvi ji said, there is not a land shortage or food shortage Whole world is worried about the water shortage. Believe me, if there is something, shortage is a global consciousness shortage. We have to be conscious. We have to be aware. We have to change our behaviors. We are trying to change the earth. We are trying to change the planet. Planet doesn't need change. Planet has changed billions on this earth. We have to change ourselves. As our Honorable Rabbi said, behavior change. We have to change our mindset. And for that, we have to sacrifice. I know sometimes it's very tasty. Few things are tasty. But there are many things are tasty does not mean we go after them. We have to take care of ourselves. As our Reverend Michael said, that our body is a temple. We have to take care of it. So, number one, to me, because I remember when I was very young, lived in the jungle, and that was the training, how to live with less. One mat, one brick for pillow, one towel, and one sheet, and one set of clothes. You wash it, you wear it. Living with less trained us that how you can have a low maintenance. It changes your whole life. And then another message was, live simply, by Mahatma Gandhi. Live simply so may that others may simply live. And then, in the jungle, there was nothing to eat. And still, the saints living in the caves, under the trees, in the mountains, they were amazing. There was a very small space in the cave. Somebody else came in the night and knocked the door. And, can I spend night here? Oh, yeah, come. One can sleep. Two can sit comfortably. Come in. Half an hour was gone. There was raining outside. Other person came in the jungle. Knocked. Welcome home. Come. He also wanted a shelter. And the third one comes. And here is the place is so small, one person could sleep, two could sit, and three can stand. Look at the way, sharing, having nothing. But they shared whatever they had. So life is not to have more. Life is to share more. Life is to be more. Being more can give us a direction for our life. How we can draw the line between need and the greed. Now, other thing has added up. Need, greed, and speed. And the speed is making us miserable. Amazing. What a smartphone. We become very smart. Sitting in one car, 4 people are sitting in, first 4 people are not seen in America sitting in one car. Everyone has their own car. Fortunately, we sit together in one car and everybody is talking to the world but not talking to each other. Let us be smart. Speed can take you for very far to the world, but we need a direction. That's why this Parliament of World Religions. That's why these revered leaders are here to give a direction to that speed, which thrills us but kills us. The speed we are going to finish our planet, to destroy our planet. For how long? As Sadhvi was talking about the Sao Paulo river. When I went there, when I saw the condition, immediately we planned it, let us together clean the river. Let us take our baby steps. And those baby steps are we decided in our, wherever we live, and we give this message to the world because so many people come to us in Rishikesh. We take pledge every day. Because this water bodies belongs to all. Water is sacred. Water is life. And which is life, you can see what is happening to that life. And we can see because of that climate change, whether it's a water or weather, whether it's a cyclone or tsunami, whether it's a tornado or thunder, you can see that what is happening to our planet. So, I will ask my revered spiritual leaders, let us take a pledge today, individually and then collectively. First, individually. Individually, everything is doing great. But time has come for collective effort. Time has for togetherness. And that togetherness will bring that oneness in us. That only can happen when we can feel we are one family. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one family. I want to commit today from our side here. Then I'll ask other leaders also, take those baby steps with us today, which our Reverend Michael has sent. Baby steps. You know, in India, all the rivers. One day we have seen rivers, full of waters. You could swim. Today you cannot even take a dip there. All the rivers are being waterless rivers. Rivers without water, bank without money. Just imagine. Rivers are becoming without waters. Lot of filth. So what we have decided, one with love and other with law. First with law, what we did, how to stop these policymakers, went to the court and took the petition, and we got the order from there that in 200 meters of both sides of the rivers, nothing can be built, rivers cannot be encroached. And let river also be a person. Let river be a person. And it's happening. Second, what to do with that land. And in those 200 meters of that area, now we have a green corridors. And I'm glad 5 days ago when we approached, so many times we approached to the government, and the government has come forward, and now the government also has prepared all the youth together, and now we are working together. Second is green crematoriums. In India, if you combine the population of Australia and Australia and New Zealand, every year, India gives birth to those many people, those many numbers. Every year, we are producing one Australia and one New Zealand. Then it means people die also. And when you die, they cremate you, you need 500 kg wood. Imagine. So we started thinking, my God, jungles will disappear. Trees are not being planted, trees are being cut, jungles will disappear. So let us find the technology. And I'm very glad to share with you that today, rather than 500 kg, now we have technology for 100 kg. And last week, on the 11th, the ministers were in our ashram. There was a big conference, and they announced now there will be green crematoriums, because electric crematoriums are not being used in India. People are very traditional there. They don't want to go to that side. So in that way, 500 wood became 100. And now, suppose here is a crematorium, 2 kilometers this side and 2 kilometers this side. Both sides of that crematorium, now when the people are in grief, waiting for the cremation to be over, all they are planting the trees. The rivers will become clean, green, and serene. Our jungles will be saved. And there are so many things I can share with you, whether it's water, sanitation, and hygiene. I want to tell you last, all of you, please come together. You have done enough prayers. One more prayer, one more meditation. Can it happen that our sanitation become our meditation? Can sanitation and meditation can go together? Our sanitation is meditation. Or I think sanitation to salvation. We can found these ways. It can happen that we can have our main priority now. I will meditate, but I'll meditate not on the Creator only, but I'll take care of the creation also. Preserve the creation. protect the creation, and serve the creation to save our coming generation. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you so much, Pujya Swamiji. As our time is very, very short and we have so many beautiful and revered leaders, I'd like to just ask them to come up one by one, beginning with Sri Satpal Singh Khalsaji, and to really just give us a minute, between 1 and 2 minutes, of their personal commitment, but even more importantly, the message through their congregations that they can give, as Rabbi Yonatan began, by inspiring us as leaders to share with the congregation. So the different religions, what message, specific, implementable message and teaching can be given such that we all live in the experience of abundance rather than scarcity, so that we all live with sharing rather than hoarding, so that we all live for the planet, with the planet, not consuming the planet. So I will ask first our Sri Satpal Singh Khalsaji, and then I will call the other revered leaders one by one.
Most respected spiritual and religious leaders and divine souls. As time is short, I'll keep my presentation very short. I don't need to go into the specifics and the statistics of this alarming topic, which is climate change and global warming. You heard many of the figures, and we all need to pay attention to it. Today, our world, our humanity, what we do today is gonna bring result decades later and for our future humanity, which are our children. So we don't want to leave the planet with a lot of problems. They predict that if we don't take care of global warming, in the next, or in this century, over 250 million would perish. Almost half of the species will be extinct. And if we do not further control the global climate problems, it could be that humanity, all of humanity, would be extinct in the next couple of centuries. So it is a very alarming situation. Now, I want to, since time is short and there are other speakers, let me share with you on how religious leaders and how specifically my religion, which is Sikh religion, how we are coping up and how we are contributing and how we are going to help solve this problem. The religious leaders, as Rabbi mentioned, have a tremendous responsibility on their shoulders. More people trust religious leaders than any other, including politicians and any other leaders. So it is upon us religious leaders to take this message back to our communities and connect with them and change their mindset, and also bring that awareness that we have to do this for our future generations. Now, the religious leaders are most deeply rooted in their communities. So it is upon us. Now, just in America alone, I live in Los Angeles, and I hear all these numbers. They are really mind-boggling. The most contributing, polluting factor in this country is our power plants that contribute almost 2 billion tons every year. They pump that kind of carbon into the atmosphere, and you know what that effect that is going to happen. Also, there is a lot of corporate greed. Corporation shareholders, you know, all the members or the shareholders of the corporation, they only have a one-point agenda. That is to increase profits for their corporation. Now, there are other avenues. Science says, really, we can reach the Mars, and we are already trying to go to the Jupiter, but we have not handled the problems on this Earth. We haven't taken care of the problems on this Earth. So I would request and appeal all of you to take this message back to your communities, to your religious communities, that corporations should look into this direction. There was recently a solar-powered aircraft that went around the world. We can drive less, we can fly less, we can take care of our trash in a better way, we can consume less. Greed is one of the most important ingredients that is contributing towards this global climate change. I thank you for this message that I wanted to share with you, and thank you all for coming.
Thanks so much, Satpalji. The wonderful part about giving the messages to the industries and the companies and the corporations is that they hear our voices through our dollars, through our pounds, through our euros, through our rupees. So for those of us who sometimes feel voiceless in the massive world of corporations, remember that their oxygen is your dollars. And so none of us is voiceless. Where we spend our dollars, where we spend our pounds, our euros, our rupees, is giving them the message. Next, I would humbly request Imam Umair Ahmed Ilyasi, who is the president of the All India Imams Association, where they have almost 500,000 imams in the organization who take their message from what he, as their president, gives. So it's a tremendous powerhouse of potential and possibility for change.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Nahmaduhu wa nusalli ala rasulihil kareem, amma ba'd. Most respected Swami Chidanand ji Maharaj, Sadhvi Bhagawati ji, Rabbi, Behan ji, Michael ji, Master Sinthahu, Sardar Bhai Satpal Singh ji, Maulana Lukman ji, brothers and sisters. आज का जो सब्जेक्ट है वो क्लाइमेट चेंज है और इस क्लाइमेट चेंज के लिए मैं जीवा को, जो कि ग्लोबल इंटरफेथ वॉश अलायंस, इसको मुबारकबाद देता हूं इस काम के लिए। I am a chief imam. All India Imam Organization is the largest and oldest Imam organization in the world. Our body members 500,000 imams and 500,000 mosques in India. India is the largest, second largest Muslim population in the world. Faith leaders का एक important role है। मैं स्वामी चिदानंद जी से इस बात पे कहूँगा कि इंटरफेथ हार्मनी, यही हार्मनी है कि हम सैनिटेशन पर, हाइजीन पर, वाटर पर, हम जिस तरह से इंडिया, उसमें इंडिया चूंकि बहुत बड़ी कंट्री है, उसमें ज़रूरत है, हमें बांग्लादेश को भी शामिल करना चाहिए स्वामी जी, चूंकि बांग्लादेश में हिंदुस्तान से ज़्यादा ज़रूरत इस समय है। मैं समझता हूं कि हमें आगे बढ़कर इस पर काम आगे करना होगा और मैं इस बात के लिए ज़्यादा वक्त ना लेते हुए अपना पूरा फुल्ली सपोर्ट हम देना चाहते हैं, जिससे कि हम अपनी मस्जिदों के माध्यम से, भागवती जी, मस्जिदों के द्वारा 5.5 लाख मस्जिदों के माध्यम से कि ये मैसेज जब हम उसको आगे करेंगे तो उसका एक बहुत बड़ा प्रभाव होगा और इस काम के लिए हम दोबारा से इस काम में आगे बढ़ेंगे। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया।
Our most respected Imam Sahib has just given a beautiful, full-hearted, full commitment talk on behalf of the 500,000 masjids in India, that they are fully with this program, this work, and he gave great love and appreciation to Pujya Swamiji for initiating the program of the Global Interfaith Wash Alliance and all of the work that he is leading and catalyzing in India and around the world to protect our natural environment for all of our brothers and sisters of every religion, every color, every country, every culture, and every creed, so that everyone can have access to a safe and healthy and productive life. And lastly, I just want to emphasize, because Islam is not traditionally a vegetarian tradition, to have a chief imam commit to get the message of the importance of cutting back on meat intake to 500,000 masjids across the country of India, which then of course goes out throughout the world, is a phenomenal step. And I really look forward to all of our Muslim brothers and sisters in India joining in hand and in heart in this wonderful, wonderful commitment and path that we are walking together. I am very honored to request the revered Dharma Master Sin Tao to share with us from his source of such great wisdom and great love and great compassion, his blessings and his words at this time.
我们台上的我们所有的这个演讲者啊，我们爱护这个环境，爱护整个地球的我们的好朋友们。那么，我们希望地球能够活得很好，让它能呼吸，让整个地球的树都是长得绿绿的，地球上的每一个花朵都开得非常的美丽，让地球活得很好。我们一切在地球上的人们，一切生命都能得到地球的庇佑。
All my dear friends, all of us are united in our concern and love for the earth. So my prayer is that we will be able to breathe, that the air will be clean and fresh, that the trees will all remain green, that the flowers will bloom bountifully in many colors, and that we all live together in peace in this earth of ours, that we all may be healthy.
那全部都要靠我们每一个人，要让这个地球活下去，那就必须简朴的生活，简单的生活，啊，那么气候的变迁呢，让我们失去了地球的平衡感，温室的效应呢，冰山的变化，造成极度的寒冷、极度的炎热的剧烈气候，这个就是因为我们的战争冲突，造成了我们地球的热，还有我们的原子弹、核子弹，种种对地球的这样的一个热的加强，
我们生活中啊有很多的我们的现在科技，我们生活中的这些科技用具都是伤害地球的。
And to protect this beautiful earth of ours really depends on each of our own efforts and on our awareness. The fact is that the climate change is causing such great damage to the balance of our earth, and it's our own lifestyles, if it's not simple, that is adding to this damage. And not only our lifestyles, but the profusion of atomic arms, of wars, of the way we live, all of this is causing great damage to the balance of our earth.
那么我们现在大家都来这里 Parliament 的这个，我们是来做这样的推动，那么就是让战争不要发生，我们转这个让和平发生，这个就是保护地球。
And it's the earnest desire of this parliament that there may be no longer war, but that we all may together create peace.
那么气候和我们的生活心态是有很密切的关系，是我们的心造成影响了气候的变迁，破坏了地球的体质，带来了失衡的一个自然状态。
And we have to be aware of the very intimate interconnection between our own lives and the life of the universe. And so our own attitude is really that what causes the climate change and destroys the earth, creating all of this imbalance.
地球是一个生命，跟我们一样的，让它活下去，那么我们大家都要想如何让它活下去。
Because the universe is really a living being like ourselves. So how can we protect this life of the universe?
我们现在宗教唯一可以做的就是造福、环保、和平跟人心的善的一个循环，这都是我们宗教一直可以努力的。
So all of our religions can work together to create this awareness of this intimate interconnectedness between our attitudes and the life of this universe, and then take the steps that are needed to heal the earth.
我们下面就是我做一点点的祈祷，让我们一起祈祷，愿我们的心一起回到保护环境、保护地球的原点。
May our heart and mind really return to its home, the home of the universe, and then extend those blessings to all beings on the universe, protecting it.
用简单的生活、简朴的生活，用节约减碳的生活，找回我们地球的一个平衡感。
And then out of this awareness, let us lead a very simple life that contributes to restoring the balance of this earth.
让地球的这种灾难呢少，让地球呢由于我们的心的改变，让我们地球是四季分明的那么让我们达到这个平衡的一个效果跟这个效益
And so it's our sincere prayer that with our change of heart, the universe will be changed and will be healed.
祈愿这次大会在妇女、青年、收入不平等等战争、暴力与仇恨的这种恨的语言、气候的变迁和原住民的 这个6大议题呢，都能够产生很好的效益性，让我们一起用慈悲、和平的心，产生使命与愿力，来带动实质的效益，就是环保和平的一个效益。那么，让我们的生命和谐，地球是个平安的。
And may all the topics that we have discussed in this parliament, starting from wars and hate, hateful speech, the topic of women, of children, indigenous people, the protection of the earth, may we all feel very inspired by this parliament to give our best efforts to find our vision and our mission to contribute to a very effective outcome of our discussions. All of this based on a spirit of compassion, love, and peace.
那么，我们的环保就从自己做起，自己对自己做环保，然后对一切都做环保。那就是说，让地能够绿起来，让水能够清爽，让整个的地球能够得到呼吸。谢谢。
So let us heal the earth, protect it, let the waters flow, let the air breathe, let the flowers bloom, and the trees grow strong and tall and green. Blessings to all of you.
非常谢谢。
Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence. The Dharma Master actually just upon Pujya Swamiji's invitation and request at the last minute agreed to join us and grace us with his presence and his words. I would ask Pujya Imam Maulana Lukman Tarpuri, who is the regional president of the Global Imams Council from Ahmedabad, India, to share with us his words and his commitment on this crucial topic of climate change.
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। शुरू करता हूँ उस परवरदिगार के नाम से जो कायनात के तमाम इंसानों पर रहम करने वाला, दया करने वाला और कृपालु है। बहुत ही रिस्पेक्टेड रिलीजियस लीडर्स एंड ब्रदर्स एंड सिस्टर्स, आज के क्लाइमेट चेंज के इस प्रोग्राम में मैं ये पैगाम देना चाहता हूँ कि आज दुनिया में जो क्लाइमेट चेंज हो रहा है उसके लिए जिम्मेदार इंसान है। कुरान में उसके लिए कहा गया है कि इंसान का जब दिल और उसका जिस्म जब गुनाह से आलूदा हो जाता है, गुनाह से लबरेज हो जाता है और वातावरण उसकी वजह से खराब होता है, पहाड़ हिलने लगते हैं, सुनामी आती है और किस्म किस्म के अल्लाह की तरफ से अजाब नाजिल होते हैं। इसलिए सबसे पहले इंसान को चाहिए कि वो खुद अपने दिल का शुद्धिकरण करे, अपने दिल को पाक करे, साफ करे, दूसरों के प्रति हमदर्दी, खैरखाही, उखुवत, मोहब्बत और भाईचारगी रखे। और जहां कहीं भी दुनिया के अंदर इंसानियत के खिलाफ कोई काम हो रहा है उसके लिए इंसान को चाहिए कि उसको वहां पर हमदर्दी और उसको खैरखाई करनी चाहिए। और जितने भी मजहब है इन तमाम मजहबों को एक दूसरे के साथ रिस्पेक्ट देना चाहिए, एक दूसरे को एजाज और इकराम देना चाहिए, तब जाकर के इस दुनिया का वातावरण और इस दुनिया की फिजा जो है बहुत ही ज्यादा खुशनुमा और अच्छी होगी। जब दुनिया की फिजा अच्छी होगी, इंसान के दिल शुद्ध होंगे, एक प्रति मोहब्बत होगी, तो अल्लाह की तरफ से से और गॉड की तरफ से, ईश्वर की तरफ से वातावरण खुद ब खुद अच्छा बनता चला जाएगा। आज मैं बहुत ही ज़्यादा मुबारकबाद पेश करता हूँ स्वामी चिदानंद जी महाराज को कि उनकी लीडरशिप में आज जीवा ग्लोबल इंटरफेथ वॉश के अलायंस के जितने भी लीडर्स जमा हुए हैं या हो रहे या आइंदा होंगे, इन सबको मैं सलाम पेश करता हूँ कि इतना बड़ा पैगाम और इतनी बड़ा मूवमेंट, इतना बड़ा आंदोलन लेकर के ये हजरात चल रहे हैं और उसके साथ हमारा भी एक छोटा सा हिस्सा है। हम उसको अपना एजाज समझते हैं, इस हिस्से को और इसके साथ हम जो है जुड़ने को अपने आप को बहुत ही ज्यादा खुश नसीब समझते हैं कि हमको ऐसा दुनिया में ऐसे सब्जेक्ट पर और ऐसे विषयों पर काम करने का मौका मिल रहा है जिसका पैगाम इस्लाम ने भी दिया है, जिसका पैगाम कुरान ने भी दिया है। मैं बहुत ही ज़्यादा मुबारकबाद पेश करता हूँ इन तमाम हजरात को कि आज जो है बहुत अच्छे मौके पर, बहुत अच्छे सब्जेक्ट पर जो है हम लोग सब जमा हुए हैं। अल्लाह ताला उसको कामयाबी से हमकिनार फरमाए। वमा अलैना इल्लल बलाग।
Imam Lukman Tarapuriji expressed his great gratitude to Pujya Swamiji for bringing together this initiative and for giving him the opportunity to learn about all of these specific aspects that are affecting our planet, and then to serve through his impact, through all of the imams and all of the followers of all of the imams, through the Global Imams Council, as well as through all of his individual sphere of influence in the large Muslim population. He spoke very deeply and very beautifully about the interplay between the inner and the outer, and the importance also, as Pujya Swamiji had mentioned, of the inner purity and the inner commitment and living truly like humans, not just in a physical human birth, but actually living with that humanity that we've kept, of course, as the theme of the Parliament, of reclaiming our humanity, and how when anything is impacting negatively the humans on the planet, that it is our responsibility, if we are living with humanity, to stand up, step forward, and to make changes in our lives and to serve that humanity. And he expressed a great commitment, personal commitment, a commitment on behalf of the Global Imams Council and all of the imams and all of the Muslim population to take this message and take this teaching forward into their lives as humans living with and serving humanity. Before we conclude this program with two very, very beautiful, just half-minute each, visual demonstrations and rituals, I just wanted to conclude by saying thank you so much to all of our revered and esteemed panelists for being with us here today, and also, as has been spoken so eloquently, for filling your congregations and your communities with the awareness, the experiential awareness of their own fullness, wholeness, completeness, divinity, and perfection, such that we don't have to go out into the world and eat it and destroy it and steal it or pollute it in order for me to feel whole and complete. That we don't need shopping therapy, we don't need hamburger therapy, we don't need chicken McNugget therapy, we don't need gold therapy. Because through our faith leaders, we are already living in touch with that fullness and that wholeness and that completeness and that divinity. So thank you so much for today and for all the work that you are doing I will ask all of our leaders to rise and to join hands together, and all of you to rise and to join hands together in a show of commitment for this beautiful program. And lastly, we will have a beautiful water blessing ceremony because, as I mentioned, water is really at the heart of the environmental crisis and situation we face. It's also at the heart of climate change. And yet, as our leaders have all spoken, water is life. Water is sacred. From the 9 months we spend in our mother's womb to the rain that irrigates our fields, this water is life. And so our revered leaders will offer together, joining hands, joining hearts, joining commitment, giving their blessings through the sacred water onto the globe with a prayer that all of our brothers and sisters across the world will experience not only inner abundance, but outer abundance and the ability to actually live safe and healthy lives.
Has come, 'cause we are one, we are one, we are one. I am you, you are me, we are one. And in this unity, we all live in harmony, and peace has come, 'cause we are one. Mayadini, mir сейчас. Спасибо.
I congratulate multi-millions time congratulations to Swamiji and all of you on the stage, because I practically saw when I went to Rishikesh that how they are protecting the environment and the climate, and it is a real practical story. So that is why from Brahma Kumari's World Spiritual University from Mount Abu, with our 9,000 centers in India and also 140 countries, we are together with Swamiji. And we are doing, and last one line, a very interesting real research stories I'm saying, that with the vegetarian diet, lifestyle changes, we have treated there more than 7,000 patients, their blockages are opened up without surgeries. This is what Swamiji was saying, that we should have that step. And our leaders said, take the baby step. Diabetes patients are curing. Addiction patients are also curing. And not only that, we have found many, many psychosomatic disorders. They have stopped taking medicine. So this is really happening. So we are all together. Our leaders, Swamiji, they have appealed us. So we will be going to do it together from today. This is what our good wishes.
Thank you for the pledge, and thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.